That's right back, Charlie. Definitely.
I think it's like
people deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on, Ian. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, you know, with it being the 1st of July, new month, new blessings. Hope you and your loved ones are doing well and safe, and wish you all the best in your personal and private lives. If you're, you know, tuning in again to one of my videos, then one love. Also, if you're tuning in for the first time, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, and any thoughts, opinions, etc. throughout the course of this video, comment them. Happy weekend, people. Hope last week was great for you. Hope the weekend, the next week is also great. Now we got that out of the way. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of us Arsenal fans, you know, every minute Timber is moving closer, Declan Rice is moving closer, and we're stepping in the right direction. I don't know if and when Declan Rice and Timber will follow. Obviously, Kai Havertz would sign in for the club. I don't know if those 3 signings is enough to push Arsenal over the line in terms of, you know, hopefully fighting City for the Premier League title again and bringing some trophy back to the Emirates next season, and also giving a good account of ourselves in the Champions League. Whether we need a bit more is another thing. Let me know your thoughts, but we want to see it done. Now, Declan Rice is the poster boy of Arsenal's early summer transfer business. He's seen as the top target. We've all seen this. You go back to probably December times, Arsenal's interest is well documented, really. Let's see the current state of play with the various articles on Declan Rice, Timber, Chouameni, if you believe it, and so on and so forth. Allegedly, Declan Rice's £105 million transfer to Arsenal is expected to be finalised on Monday, with deals set to be struck on payment terms. West Ham hope to agree payment terms with Arsenal for the £105 million transfer of Declan Rice by Monday. Apparently, his shirt is not available on West Ham's website anymore. Some say he's actually been booked in for a medical wise on holiday, and he's allegedly chosen, you know, his favoured number 41 shirt. Again, in principle, Arsenal have agreed a deal to sign the England international, 24 years of age, for a record fee between 2 British clubs of 100 million quid plus an extra 5 million in add-ons. As you can see, my alarm just went off. Apologies for that, people. Should have had the phone on private. Continuing stuff, silent. Despite also agreeing on personal terms, negotiations have continued regarding the payment structure of the upfront 100 million sum. The Hamish Chiefs want it all by the start of 2025, so a year/18 months, give or take, to run them their money, a lot of money. Whereas Arsenal would prefer financially to stagger a section of it across a long period. And you know what? Looking back now, to go with, you know, again, I'm no accountant, but with Stan Kroenke kind of giving us a deal with, you know, I think Arsenal took out a loan, or KSE gave Arsenal a loan with low interest rates. And when you look at, you know, the financial austerity measures we've been doing, or better yet, the financial discipline regarding contracts and stuff, maybe that's allowing us now to be a bit more adventurous with some of these signings. You know, again, we stand on course to spend around 200 odd million. I don't know if that necessarily will correlate to success, or if, you know, our spending will stop at Timber, Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, but step in the right direction. I certainly didn't see Kai Havertz signing for the club for 65, 70 million. Nonetheless, apparently, people, the Sun Sport now understands that sources close to the deal expect those negotiations to be concluded by the start of next week. These minor payment issues have never been seen as derailing, but West Ham have been dragging their heels in to get the deal they want. Both Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta and Declan Rice are desperate to get this over the line as quickly as possible, with a medical ready to be arranged as soon as they get the green light. He's still on holiday, people, and is not expected back at West Ham for another 2 weeks, following obviously representing England. Declan Rice's potential new manager, Arteta, wants him signed and fully integrated at Arsenal before we head off to the States, people. Obviously, in July, we're going to be playing MLS All-Stars, Manchester United. I'm sure we play Barcelona, and, you know, so on and so forth. We've got a busy pre-season. We go off to America. Obviously, we've got the midweek Emirates Cup against Monaco. I believe, I could be wrong. We're now in the Community Shield, obviously, against City. And then the Premier League season's back. So, yeah, hopefully we get over the line with pardon me, with relation to Declan Rice. Talks over the payment structure of Declan Rice's transfer to Arsenal are close to being finalised, with West Ham keen to receive a guaranteed 100 million by the end of next year. Whether you rate Declan Rice or not, whether you feel he's overpriced or not, I don't think you can sit here and say Arsenal is not ambitious based on, you know, shattering our club record transfer fee on a player, really and truly, on a Premier League player, let alone as well. And obviously this is after, you know, having a 90 odd million pound bid rejected. Crazy to claim initially that was penny pinching, especially when City kind of matched it. But again, the Daily Mail is kind of, collaborating what we've just said. Talks over the payment structure for Rice's move is close to being finalized. We all know we've had a couple of bids rejected, and it seems like we're gonna get over the line in that regards. People, the proposed deal will see the Gunners fork out 100 million for the player, followed by another 5 million in bonuses. And again, people, the fee was initially proposed to be paid across 4 years. So hopefully we find a way out. Once again, West Ham want the guaranteed part of the fee to be paid by the end of next year. And of course, really and truly, you want that. You want to get your money in as quick as possible. And where incentives and bonuses and stuff like that, you want to see how much money you can get without Declan Rice having to do the most, really. Now, for Arsenal, you're probably putting things in there like if he achieves, you know, individual accolades, if we win Prems and Champs and FA Cups and things. With West Ham, you don't really want that. What is the least you could do, you know, really? How many appearances he makes for the club? How quickly can we get Declan Rice's transfer fee paid to us so that we can reinvest? Fair enough, people. Nonetheless, apparently on Wednesday, a fee was agreed in principle. Personal terms are not thought to be an issue and are considered a formality. He'll join allegedly on about 250 grand a week, people. So yeah, allegedly Arsenal have already completed the signing of Kai Havertz. As we know, it's been revealed that the German is set to play as a number 8 alongside Rice as the 6 and Captain Odegaard in the 10 role. Hopefully Kai Havertz and Odegaard are interchangeable, because I'm not prepared to give up on my agenda that Odegaard could become a serious number 8 for the club. Then you factor in bringing another centre mid. It may be if Fabio Vieira can start showing some consistency. Obviously, a fit Smith Rowe is a great option in our team to have. And obviously, on paper, you've still got Partey and Xhaka, whose days are probably numbered at the Emirates, and they're not necessarily here for the future. They're here for the present. I don't think we should allow both of them to leave, especially Partey. I think having the option, there will be games, as much as, you know, the new look Arsenal might be Kai Havertz, Odegaard, and Declan Rice. There will be games you might need to go in there with, you know, one of Kai Havertz or Odegaard, and go with the two henchmen in Partey and obviously Declan Rice. I definitely know we could have done with that away at Anfield in the second half, really and truly. So of that game. So we'll have to see. Once again, Sky Sports is saying we're still discussing things. The deal's been agreed in principle. There's still work to do for the clubs to find an agreement over the structure. There's still a willingness from all parties to get a deal done. There's still work to be done. Apparently, he's now free to discuss personal terms and have his medical. So that would tell us really that despite us not necessarily dotting every I and crossing every T, we're stepping in the right direction in relation to him. Now, this is indirectly involved, but apparently the Manchester City chief has spoken on the first time after they've pulled out the Declan Rice deal. Now, with Arsenal, we needed Declan Rice more than City did. We're, you know, in two different realms as a football team. They've got more depth. They've got Rodri over there, and they've got other things. We needed Declan Rice, really, because we don't know what's going on with Caicedo. We don't know what's going on with any other targets, people. And one thing I rate about City, rightly or wrongly, you know, it's not that they don't put up a fight to keep players, but if players want to leave, they let them leave and they reinvest. Obviously, they've signed a number of big players, and their success, you know, their hits to miss ratio is very good. You know, of recent, what City signings haven't really worked out. Calvin Phillips ain't really worked out. Sergio Gomez don't really look that good in the City shirt, but other than that, Grealish having a great season, Haaland's a bad boy, and the rest goes on. And they've shown with Alexis Sanchez, with Fred, with Maguire, with Jorginho, with Cucurella, that they will step away, rightly or wrongly, from deals, really. And I just thought, let's see exactly what's been said there, people. He said, if you look at what we did at the start of this project, there was a need for a lot of change in investment, but not anymore. If you look at what we've done in the last 5 years, our level of investment in new players is well thought out. Fair enough, it is. We are not the top net spenders of last year or the last 3 or 5 years, which is true, you know, but put it into context, you got Pepe and all of these other things, and you could afford to drop 100 million on one player. You know, we have a platform where we know what to do, and we can do it with time and intelligence. When we don't like the deal, we walk away and we don't panic, which rightly or wrongly is fantastic discipline. And to be fair with you, Edu and Arteta have a long way to go. but I have liked the new approach that we're doing. You know, I do think Arteta and they do have a long way to go to learn from every mistake they've made. But you look back to January before the last one, like so 2022, we didn't sign a single player. We've learned with Trossard. Obviously, in terms of getting deals done, long dragged out sagas, we could do a lot better, but we've shown we'll move away from things like with the Mudryk deal if it doesn't make sense for us. We still got a long way to go. You know, in January, we're being told by Brighton, Caicedo's not for sale. We're still trying. The last, you know, go back to summer, we're told by Aston Villa, we can't be trying to buy Douglas Luiz in the last couple of weeks of the transfer window. We're still trying to do that. Obviously, the Vlahovic, the Locatellis, João Felix, there's still some L's, but good discipline being shown by everybody at the club. And we could learn from City here, really. How many coaches did we have in the last 10 years? Two, Pellegrini and Pep Guardiola. How many football directors? One, that tells me stability. Part of success is to be consistent and resilient and not panic when we lose. I've seen that City when going to breakfast the morning after games we have lost, and it's like a funeral and people are really peed off. That's when you have to show resilience, but also intelligence to think today is not the day to make decisions. This is part of the reason why I've been successful in the last decade, and you're basically backed by a country. Fair enough. Apparently, Gunner blog on Rice has said it's no longer between Edu and Karen Brady. It's now a conversation between accountants, effectively, people who are trying to make the numbers stack up for both sides. So this enormous transaction can take place. It's complex, but there's no reason to panic. If anything, the people involved in making this deal are a little bit more relaxed now because everybody's on the same page. So it's just about making sense of things, really. Jim White of TalkSport has said the deal is getting closer and closer, really, and it could be concluded early next week. Allegedly, Alex Crook of TalkSport has said he has chosen 41. Rice, baby. Let me know your thoughts. John Cross of The Mirror said Declan Rice is likely to undergo his medical while on holiday to complete the deal when the two clubs thrash out the finer details of the transfer, but it may not happen until the start of next week. Again, apparently Granit Xhaka's future is correlated to Declan Rice. Arsenal hold firm after Granit Xhaka transfer decision as Declan Rice delay emerges. Bayer Leverkusen might have to improve their offer to land Granit Xhaka. Arsenal are ready to allow Xhaka to leave as soon as they complete the £105 million deal for West Ham captain Declan Rice. Leverkusen have got a deal for the 30-year-old Xhaka all lined up and are ready to push ahead whenever Arsenal give the green light. Xhaka is being offered at least a 4-year deal in Germany, and there's a feeling that if they view him as a long-term signing, then they should also have to pay around 20 million rather than the bargain deal, which has so far been muted. Now, for me, I know I'm being a bit selfish and probably too many players there, but I want the best of both worlds. You know, for Granit Xhaka, if his family want to go back to Germany, if he hasn't been offered a contract at Arsenal and he's got a year to go with 1 year option, so essentially 2 years, and Leverkusen are giving a 4-year, then we got to remember that's job security at 30 years of age. I can't begrudge him for going there, you know, leaving Arsenal a lot more healthier than it's been, healthiest it's been in Granit Xhaka's career at Arsenal than it has been in previous years. Leave with his head held high. I sympathise for him. Obviously, in terms of resale value, you're not going to make your money back on Xhaka, clearly, you know, maybe letting him go too cheaply, but you do free up handsome wages and you do obviously, you know, free up a spot in the team for someone else, and then resources can be reinvested. Now, I personally think we need to keep Granit Xhaka, whether you rated him or not. You know, there's a reason, you know, he plays for his country. Jose Mourinho wanted him. Mikel Arteta messes with him. Emre messes with him. Wenger messed with him as well. 3 managers all utilized him. And I think going into the Champions League, we need his experience. Love him or hate him. Granit Xhaka is a man that you want to be with you in the trenches. You know, he's a man that you want to go to war with. You know, he's got your back. And from that experience factor, I think we need to keep him and Thomas Partey. I'd be open to either one going if that's what Arteta deems, but I think we need the best of both worlds. I think we need Declan Rice and the next guy that can come in and play in them pivot roles, you know. And what I mean by the pivot, if you look at the midfield 3, exclude Odegaard and the 2 people behind him, I think you need Partey, I think you need Xhaka, I think you need Declan, I think you need the next one. And then you've got these hybrid dons who could play in that role and be groomed. Odegaard at home in the 10. I'll never give up my agenda of believing he could play as an 8. Fabio Vieira could do that. Smith Rowe could do that. Obviously, Kai Havertz has come to the fray in that regards, people. But I could understand letting 1 or 2 go. I don't think we should really and truly. I think we should, you know, arguably, I know Declan Rice is coming in to start, but Granit Xhaka and Partey did quite well last season, and that's the first choice pivot. I want someone to take their spots, and I want them to, you know, if, for example, if we play the Premier League game tomorrow, if the season started tomorrow and Granit Xhaka and Partey started, people, by May, can we decrease their kind of stature in the team in that they kind of become squad rotation options, really? But we'd have to see, really. So we'll have to see. Apparently, he's already said his goodbyes, and yeah, man, we need this experience. But also, and especially because you had a bloody good season last year, really. And I think Arteta has a long way to go at Arsenal to achieve what he needs to achieve. But very few players sum up what Mikel Arteta has done for this club. Then Granit Xhaka, dramatically a better player. Don't really see his shortcomings on the field, but that is a role we need to improve. But Arsenal will look to offload players with deals for Rice and Timber lined up, while they've already sealed the signing of Kai Havertz. Partey is wanted by Juventus, and there's also interest in Italy and from Saudi Arabia, while Kieran Tierney and Rob Holding could also go this summer. Once again, people we're close to reaching a proper agreement with Declan Rice's current employers, West Ham. He's likely to undergo his medical while on holiday, people. But that may not happen till next week. We will know about that. I'm not going to keep waffling about that. Nelson's been offered a 4-year deal, people, with the option of a 5th, and apparently will sign when he comes back from holiday. Fabrizio Romano has said on the Declan Rice deal, I'm told that this deal is really, really close now. They're negotiating on payment terms and deal structure. But on Friday night, while I'm speaking, the agreement on payment terms is really close. It's not here we go yet. Let's see how the discussions will continue in the next hours or days. But Declan is expected to become an Arsenal player very, very soon, hopefully. Nicolas Pepe has spoken on Mikel Arteta and kind of quashed a lot of claims that the manager didn't believe in him and that. And let's see exactly what he said here, people. Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts on everything we have discussed so far. People say that he, Arteta, identified me as a player that wasn't up to the level in his team, in his philosophy. It's completely false. When he arrived, he had Manchester City's philosophy. He had a squad that was filled with quality and backups in every position. When he spoke to me, he said he counted on me, and we all saw how he helped win us the FA Cup, really. He wanted me to do this and that, and you have to focus on that. He improved me in every way. He spoke to me the whole time. I watched videos with his assistants all the time. He really believed in me. He said I had incredible potential, so we need to extract that potential. Fair enough. And, again, I think Arteta, one thing I like about him is he's ruthless in a good way. He's shown many a time at this football club that he'll make unpopular decisions and live or die by them. Has to hold his hands up for the Willian thing, but the world wanted Granit Xhaka gone. You wanted to keep him. I do think when you look at the FA Cup, and initially with Aubameyang, it looked rosy. Nicolas Pepe with the FA Cup, Ainsley Maitland-Niles at a time, and then he's discarded them. And you could probably say Granit Xhaka and maybe Partey now, folks. Teeny as well. So we'll have to see. But yeah, man. So again, that first paragraph, you're thinking, what happened then, really and truly, for you to get rubbed out? But let's see. At the end of the first season, he spoke with me and told me to do this or that. The second season comes along. I was a substitute. I was going mad. How could I be a substitute when he said he counted on me? Everything is spinning your head. I was a substitute for what felt like 10 games. It was at the time when they signed Willian. He's a number 10 or a winger, but he plays on the wing for like 11 or 12 matches in a row. My head turned knowing that I'd spoken with the coach and it wasn't like that. So Pepe probably pushed the move, really. And this is where football's a bit political, because we all know Willian was trash for this football club. But one luxury that Mikel Arteta, in my opinion, had over Pepe and Willian is that you brought in Willian on a free transfer, a costly error. So you have to kind of hold that L. So he's kind of got to play him and hope he plays free form. Pepe weren't his guy. Like, if he uses Pepe, which he has, great. If he doesn't, Arteta can hide behind the luxury of, listen, I didn't spend 72 million on this man. So maybe that was a bit of it, really. And clearly Pepe was getting a bit impatient of not playing. I'd feel violated as well. Fair enough. He said, but that improved in the sense that he gave me a chance. I scored against Sheffield United at the Emirates. The confidence started to come back. I started to speak better, but it was a bit cold. I started to speak to agents, but we didn't see each other like before, but it improved. It's not true that he labeled me, not true at all. He helped me in every way on a tactical level in terms of game intelligence, because his philosophy requires a lot of intelligence. He knew my style of playing wasn't waiting in possession. It was cutting inside. It wasn't waiting out on the right. Before I was a bit free. I had to wait in my zone. I wasn't like that before. There are parts of my games that he tried to improve. He always wanted to help me with that. Fair enough. He then said, I will return to Arsenal. I was loaned without an option to buy, so I have to come back to Arsenal. I don't know about my future yet. When I get back, I'll speak with the coach and everyone and see what everyone's ideas are, and we'll make a decision. I mean, he's contracted until 2024. the writing's on the wall for him, really and truly. Don't you lot think? Arsenal finalising timber fee to take summer spending over 200 million. Allegedly, we are closing in on signing the Ajax defender. Talks between the two clubs are at an advanced stage, and a fee is set to be finalised. Allegedly, sources in Holland say Arsenal have verbally agreed to pay an initial 36 million with a further 4 million add-ons. Both Ajax and Arsenal are keen to wrap up a deal, and talks are expected to accelerate over the weekend. He is said to be excited by the prospect of moving to North London, and personal terms won't be an issue. Apparently, he's excited and impressed by Mikel Arteta's project. And he was tracked by Bayern Munich and Manchester United in the past, people. So make of that what you will. Allegedly, you know, he's actually returned to Ajax training and just fulfilling his obligations. Reports out of Holland say Timber wants to appear fit at his new club, Arsenal, and although he's still on vacation after his obligations with the Dutch national team, he reported to Ajax on Friday. The defender uses the Ajax gym as a waiting room. I mean, you might as well. You're still contracted to turn up. You might as well do your little workouts and things like that. So, yeah, apparently he'll sign for 42 million euros plus an extra 5 million euros in potential add-ons. People will have to see. And some reports have said Arsenal and Ajax are actually waiting on this deal to kind of be concluded in July, to kind of, you know, pull it on next year's financial accounting year. I'm not an accountant. I don't know if these things are true. Once again, people, he's using Ajax's gym as a waiting room. Allegedly, there's an agreement in principle, says Ben Jacobs, to actually sign him for 40 million quid. And he's set to undergo a medical if and when the time's right, people. As you can see here, Chris Wheatley has said Timber is set to undergo a medical after Arsenal and Ajax agreed a fee in the region of 40 million. First called by Dutch journalist Mike Verjwij. I can't pronounce his name, and I mean no disrespect. I think we all know we're not getting Tchouaméni, but I would love Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Lavia, any IC3 midfielder that can bring something. Allegedly, Arsenal will push to sign a Real Madrid superstar if moves for Caicedo and Lavia come to nothing. Now, if you read recent reports on Lavia, we're behind Liverpool and Co. 1 minute Chelsea are speaking to him, United are speaking to him, Liverpool are speaking to him. And if Liverpool get Thuram, Lavia, Szoboszlai to go with McAllister, that's quite lit. I would love Caicedo. It appears that Arsenal, Man United and City have probably indirectly funded Caicedo from Brighton to Chelsea, as well as helping Chelsea buy new clubs as well. So yeah, Granit Xhaka could leave. Again, Caicedo, according to Romano, could cost 80 million. Some say 100 million. So I have to see. We've been linked with Tchouaméni. I don't buy it. I do think everyone would be interested. He's a man we should have bought at Bordeaux. You know, I think Real Madrid would be silly to let him go. You know, again, they've signed Jude Bellingham, and Valverde's been linked with Liverpool. Camavinga's been linked with Arsenal or whatever. I'm sure if you put certain money down, everyone's got a price, but they'd be crazy to sell him, you know, especially when you've got Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Jude Bellingham. I'm probably missing out. The next one, Real Madrid have a dynasty of midfielders there, really. So we'll have to see. Allegedly, Arsenal are eyeing a move for him, people. In fact, I've seen, so I didn't even bother get the article because apparently Arsenal are eyeing up a move for Kylian Mbappe in 2024. Listen, I'll hold my hands up if that ever works, but come on now. Like, come on now. Apparently, Arsenal have borrowed up until this point into the hundreds of millions from KSE, effectively Stan Kroenke and his business. KSE are likely to offer Arsenal as a sibling company a pretty favorable rate with fixed terms that will not escalate based on interest. I mean, they both his companies, really. Arsenal feels solution on Declan Rice payment terms is finally super close, really, says Romano. Again, Rudy Galletti. I know we're all just keeping one eye on the Caicedo business. You know, Chelsea and Brighton talks for the Ecuadorian midfielder are entering crucial stages. He's keen to join Chelsea and is pushing for a move. Gunnar Block has said West Ham can use the guarantee of future money from Arsenal to borrow against to improve their cash flow in the short term, but with interest rates high, that may not be favorable for them to do. Arsenal, meanwhile, they're in a position where they can borrow direct from someone very close to them. They have borrowed up until this point quite a substantial amount of money into the hundreds of millions from KSC, effectively Stan and his businesses. They can continue to do that, and I suspect in order to get a deal the size of Declan Rice over the line, they will have to do that. But the benefit is that KSC are likely to offer Arsenal as a sibling company a pretty favorable rate with fixed terms that will escalate based on interest. That's my understanding. Now, I understand the bulk of it. Shout out my guy Mo Hader. Probably have to ask him on what all of that means, man. And also, Arsenal have officially confirmed that Pablo Mari has joined Monza on a permanent transfer. Obviously, we wish my man all the best. It just didn't work out at Arsenal Football Club, really and truly. You know, it's just like with Rob Holding, we're going in a separate direction. To kind of wrap this up, Pepe is to return and hold talks with Arteta of his future. Pablo Mari is dem man's player. Arda Güler has been linked with Barcelona, Real Madrid, and just everybody. Apparently, Arsenal are the only English club leading the race to sign Arda Güler, and I'm sure we could ask for Gooner, Mesut Ozil on him. I think he's a gem. I think he's a jewel in Turkish football. I think he's got all the potential in the world. Will need to improve in terms of consistency, physicality, all of that stuff as he steps up. But he's a wonderful dribbler, lovely balance, fairly quick, can play as a 10 as well as out wide. Don't think he'd immediately improve us in terms of immediately fighting for trophies, but I think this will be one that pays off in years to come. I'm told the Gunners have leaped from Newcastle in the race for the Fenerbahce sensation Arda Güler. The Magpies held talks with the 18-year-old's reps, but Arsenal are now the English club most interested in sealing a deal. Obviously, Ethan Nwaneri has signed a scholarship deal and probably in line with when he turned 17, a pro contract. We're on the verge of completing the Declan Rice deal. We've announced Kai Havertz. A host of Premier League clubs are chasing Lavia, as we know. People understand. Romano has said, understand Liverpool arts conditions of the Lavia deal. They're in the race. Arsenal working on this deal for 15 days. No official club from both clubs yet. Man United and Chelsea are monitoring the situation but are not in active talks. We're close for Timber. We've set a price tag of 35 million for Balogun, and this article has said he's been linked with Crystal Palace. So that's Crystal Palace, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Napoli, Juventus, Brentford, Everton, West Ham, and several other Leipzig and several other clubs for Balogun, who's finished international duty and is back in London. Parties continue to be linked with a move away. Hopefully, we get Timber over the line. Apart from that, it doesn't appear that there's any other names, people, really. So yeah, smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts. Again, new month, new blessings. I'm out.
There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like.
Easy, 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 easy.